Hi, I'm Bob Fletcher. It's been my great honor to serve as your Ramsey County Sheriff. Working together as a community, we've accomplished great things. In fact, serious crime in Ramsey County is down 20%. Now, no one agency can take credit for the reduction in crime. It's a community effort. But at the Sheriff's Department, we're doing our part. We're focusing on suppression, intervention, and prevention. On the suppression front, we created the Violent Crime Enforcement Team that targets our most serious violent offenders, drug dealers, and gang members. It's a multi-agency collaboration, including officers from the East Metro area. Our Sexual Offender Monitoring Unit has a 100% rating of locating and identifying our sexual offenders in Ramsey County, the first in the state of Minnesota. Our Career Criminal Tracking Unit tracks 250 felons that have 5 or more convictions for property crimes, working with the county attorney's office to prosecute and keep those career criminals in jail. And our fugitive task forces with the Marshal's Office and the Department of Corrections are some of the best in the country. Our intervention efforts have been geared at kids, trying to keep them out of crime, and when they get into some criminal activity, to get them out as quickly as possible. Our curfew center in Ramsey County some years handles 2,000 children. We're trying to make sure they're not exposed to drugs and gangs and other street crime activities after midnight. And we're working with the Neighborhood House and Save Our Sons and the St. Paul Youth Services Bureau to get kids out of gangs, including tattoo removal and group counseling. We've helped fund them through a grant to the Sheriff's Office. On the prevention side, a very important program to me is helping young kids learn how to read. We know that 73% of the people in our prisons can't read, and that our young third graders are falling behind, losing self-esteem, becoming bullies as they get older, and joining negative alternative groups. We need to help them succeed by making sure every third grader can read. And so our after-school literacy program and activities program recruits volunteers from around the state, really, to work with young kids, and we're expanding that to the west side of St. Paul as well. Of course, other programs like meth prevention and heroin prevention have been key for us. We're trying to keep kids from getting into drugs in the first place. 80% of the persons that are arrested in our jail, 80%, have a chemical addiction problem. If we can teach kids to read and keep them off of drugs, we can dramatically change the world that we live in. You know, in addition to our suppression, prevention, and intervention efforts, you know, we're doing new things regarding Homeland Security and emergency preparedness. And Ramsey County Sheriff's Office has taken the lead in our anti-terrorism efforts. Each month for the past 9 years, we've met with 60 of the law enforcement leaders and public safety leaders each month to talk about how we combat terrorism. But we're not just looking at terrorism. It affects all the possible weapons of mass destruction, emergency preparedness issues, but the Sheriff's Office has been in a coordinating role. You know, next year, one of the top priorities of the Sheriff's Office will be intervening in the uptick in crime. As a matter of fact, the most serious uptick in crime, and it's been down for 16 years, but last year we saw the first uptick. Young Somalian children are joining gangs, shooting at each other. You're aware of the triple homicide in Minneapolis. Well, the 30 to 40, 50,000 Somalian persons make Minnesota their home. Almost all are law-abiding. But like every other immigrant community, some kids are slipping into gangs. What we accomplished with the Hmong community, we need to translate in the Somalian community. So we'll be working closely in our Somalian outreach. We have 2 persons that are networking with the elders and the imams, and we have another deputy that's actually created a soccer team and competing in many of the Somalian soccer tournaments. Second, our domestic abuse and domestic violence efforts will continue. We need to continue developing the blueprint in St. Paul. We're working hand in hand with the St. Paul Police Department and other county-wide agencies to reduce domestic violence. We're partners in that effort. And third, new technologies are here today, and we need to leverage them. You've heard of our wireless camera system, that we can put cameras in the field and we can patrol a lot of different areas at once. You know, we're going to continue to develop those technologies. And community notification technology such as Nixle. Many of you subscribe to that. We advise you what's taking place. You know, there's a lot of success stories at our sheriff's office. We're very, very excited about it. As an example, our K-9 unit 3 years ago competed and became national champions throughout the country. The last 2 years, they've been runners-up. This year, one of our deputies, Sergeant Joanne Springer, was named the Women's Police Officer of the Year in Minnesota. You know, it's simple. I'm very proud of the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, 500 men and women, 400 volunteers. It's the largest volunteer organization in the 5-state area. And they all do outstanding work. They deserve our thanks and appreciation for everything they do, because they serve us in the most toughest times. So let me just say thank you for your past friendship and support. I certainly look forward to another opportunity to serve you. And before I go, I see my interviewer has shown up. In fact, little Bob, we each get one interviewer. Come on up here. This is little Bob Fletcher, my son. And you said you might ask a question. So little Bob, do you have a question to ask? Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Oh, you don't have any questions. Well, in addition to little Bob, my son little Bob, I'm honored to have the support of the Ramsey County Sheriff's Association, the St. Paul Police Federation, and the correctional officers that work in our jail. I hope I've earned your support as well. Thank you.